for me in logic games, I'm not that conscious of the clock or that conscious of the time. I wouldn't even bring a watch to the test center back when there were test centers and there were watches, aside from the Apple Watch. I mean, I would basically not even bring a wristwatch. I might count on there being a clock in the room and check that every now and then. But the countdown timer on the Flex or the online LSAT, to me, that's the worst thing in the world. I was talking with Anusha about this earlier, how it's so anxiety provoking and producing. And you can make the countdown clock disappear, right? For anyone who's not aware, if you go into Law Hub, click the clock on the upper right, the countdown timer, and you can make it disappear until you're down to the 5-minute warning. So for the first 30 minutes of a 35-minute section, you can make the clock vanish. I recommend trying to make it vanish and seeing how that experience is what that experience is like for you, because to have the clock there for me is like the worst thing in the world. I think of like Amazon.com, the Black Friday sale things where they're trying to get you to buy and make this. They want to make the sale. And so they stress you out with the clock. The deal's going to disappear in the next 2 hours or whatever it is. I don't think LSAC is that evil and means to do that to you, but it is a consequence of, in my view, poor design. So I would say get rid of the clock and develop your own internal sense of timing, your own rhythm regarding that. Count on yourself and count on all the previous timed sections and timed exams you have done and or will do before test day itself. So you'll have a sense of, okay, well, I'm spending a decent, reasonable amount of time on a fairly easy logic game versus how has 15 minutes gone by while I'm still on an easy logic game that should have taken maybe 7 minutes. You have that average of 8:45, as Jennifer was saying, but that is simply an average. Some games can and ideally should be done in much less than that. Like, for example, Prep Test 58, Game 2. I'll type that one in the chat. Prep Test 58, Game 2 should be a fairly easy conditional in-out logic game relative to others. I'm not saying that is an easy game for the random person on the street who has very little LSAT exposure before, but relative to many other logic games, through practicing those skills of conditionality, this is the game with the summer school volunteers, I think. That game should be solved fairly quickly. And so you get a rhythm where you're going through it efficiently, no mistakes. You're good with conditionals and counterpositive and linking conditional statements together. And so by blasting through that, you have a time bank for tougher games later. So if you feel efficient and you're moving through that like a machine, get through it in an efficient, reasonable amount of time. Again, ideally, maybe 7 minutes, maybe even less. You then know you've got a little bit of a buffer for a tougher game that you might do in 10 or 12 minutes. And then you check the clock later after the fact and you say, you know what? Maybe one game was less than 8:45, one game was more than 8:45, but I still completed the entire section in 33 minutes. Fantastic. 35, also great. Then you look at your review process, like with a spreadsheet like tracker like Jennifer was talking about. You then know, okay, well, maybe there was 2 questions in the entire set of 23 questions that you could have done faster. That's what you look to improve for the next time. Thanks for tuning into the show. Please subscribe if you haven't done so already to be notified of new episodes as I release them. And feel free to reach out if you need anything at all as you move forward with your prep. I'm happy to help however I can. In the meantime, I'll wish you all the best and take care.